Hello, this is a video on polynomial long division. So the worksheet I just posted on Canvas not too long ago, so you could download the worksheet and try to follow along with me. So here we go. This is when you're trying to divide a polynomial by a polynomial, and there's no matching factors. So, like for example, in this case, we notice this first thing, it could be written as 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 3. And this is asking to divide it by 2x plus 3. So you can see that we can actually just cancel this out, and the answer should be 2x minus 3. Okay? That's what it should be if we're doing division right. So let's go ahead and erase this. And let's actually try to get that same answer. So 2x minus, so I'm going to divide 2x plus 3 into 4x squared minus 9. Now, you don't have to do this, but I think it's helpful that if you're missing a power here, notice there's no power, there's no x term. So I put plus 0x here minus 9, just so that it kind of keeps things in an orderly fashion. Because when I go to divide this thing, I'm going to have some x terms there, and I want to be able to subtract them from the x. Okay, so the first step is to say what times 2x equals 4x squared, and the answer is 2x. So then I multiply 2x times 2x, which gives me 4x squared. And every time you do this, that should happen. You should get the exact same thing as the first term, because that's what we're trying to do, is eliminate that first term. Then we multiply 2x times 3, and we get positive 6x. And then the elimination happens is when we subtract. So 4x squared minus 4x squared is 0. And 0x minus 6x would be negative 6x. And then we bring the negative 9 down, so that goes there. And, sorry, my battery's running dead. All right, get that plugged in. Okay, so now we're going to say, okay, what times 2x equals negative 6x? And that, of course, would be negative 3. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Notice again, it matches up exactly. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. So then we go to subtract this. Negative 6 minus a negative 6x is 0. Negative 9 minus negative 9 is 0. And we get no remainder. And so you see, this answer, of course, is the same answer we got when we just factored it and canceled it. Okay? So this is not doing anything different than the dividing we've been doing. It's just that all the dividing we've been doing before this was you had some factors you could cancel out. Okay, so now this one is going to, there are no factors, because this, of course, factors into x minus 2 times x plus 2. So that is not going to be to cancel into that. So there's going to be a remainder. Okay, so we're going to divide x plus 4 into x squared. Once again, I'm going to put the plus 0x in there, minus 4. And so I say what times x equals x squared. So I put an x right there because x times x is x squared, and x times 4 is positive 4x. X squared minus x squared is 0. 0x minus 4x is negative 4x. Bring the negative 4 down. And I say, what times x would give me negative 4x? And that's negative 4. Negative 4 times x is negative 4x. And negative 4 times 4 is negative 16. So then when I go to subtract it, negative 4x minus negative 4x is 0. And negative 4 minus a negative 16 is like negative 4 plus 16. And so that would be a positive 12. Okay, so then my final answer in this case would be x minus 4. And then you say plus the remainder, which is the 12, over the divisor, which is x plus 4. Okay, so this is kind of like a mixed fraction, if you remember mixed fractions, just to give you a connecting point. When I take, for example, 10 divided by 3, I could divide 3 into 10, and it'll go in there twice with 1 left over. I'm sorry, it'll go in there 3 times with 1 left over. So that ends up being 3 1/3. So you see how the 3 is kind of like the x minus 4, And the 1 is like the 12. That's the remainder. And of course, the 3 and the 3 and the x plus 4 go together. So we took, for example, x squared minus 4 divided by x plus 4 and rewrote it like that as a mixed number, so to speak. Okay? Okay, let's do a couple more of these babies. So we're going to divide x plus 3 into 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. And once again, I say what times x is 2x squared? That would be 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 3 is positive 6x. Then I subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared is 0. 5x minus 6x would be negative x. Bring down the negative 3. And I say what times x is negative x? That would be negative 1. Negative 1 times x is negative x. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. And then we subtract. Negative x minus negative x is 0. Negative 3 minus a negative 3 is also 0. Aha! So this is a remainder of 0. So that means I could have factored this. And got 2x and x. And it looks like a 3 and a 1. And that would have been... nope. A 3 and a 1. And that would be a positive and that would be a negative. And you can see that sure enough, the x plus 3's will cancel out and there would be a remainder of 0. Okay? So let's factor this one before we make that mistake of going through the whole long division. 2x and x. And this one's going to be what? Well, it's not factorable, is it? So if I put a 3 there, I get... oh, it is factorable, okay. So if I put a 3 there, I get 6 minus 1, which would be 5. But this is going to be a positive there and a negative there. And so notice the x minus 3 is not going to cancel out, so I will have to use long division here. Okay, so this is 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So what times x is 2x squared? That would be 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. I subtract the whole thing. 2x squared minus 2x squared is none. 5x minus a negative 6x would be 11x. Bring down the negative 3. And I say what times x equals 11x? That'd be plus 11. And 11 times x would be 11x. 11 times negative 3 would be negative 33. And let's subtract them. 11x minus 11x is 0. Negative 3 minus a negative 33, that would be negative 3 plus 33, which would be positive 30. So again, this answer is going to be 2x plus 11 plus 30 over x minus 3. Okay? So let's factor this one first this time to see if it is possible to do it without synthetic division. I mean without long division. And let's see, that would be a 5, a 2 possibly. Yep, and that would be a 15 minus 2. There we go. So notice the x minus 5's cancel out. So I don't need to do a long division. So the answer to this would just be 3x plus 2. Okay? And maybe you're seeing the pattern now. This one is going to be factorable and cancelable, but this one won't. So let's go ahead and throw it into long division. Maybe I'll surprise you and I'll end up with without a remainder, but probably not. Okay, so what times x equals 3x squared? That would be 3x. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 5 is 15x. And subtract. 3x squared minus 3x squared is 0. Negative 13x minus 15x would be a negative 28x. Bring down the negative 10. What times x equals negative 28x? That would be negative 28. Negative 28 times x is negative 28x. Negative 28 times 5 is negative 70. Is that right? 50. Wait, 5 times 2 times 5. 20 times 5 is 100. What am I thinking? No. 140. Yeah. So then we subtract negative 28x minus a negative 28x is 0. Negative 10 plus 140 essentially would be negative 130. So then my answer would be 3x minus 28 minus 130 over x plus 5. Okay. I'm going to pause the video and do these and then turn it back on. Okay, so I did 3 of these. Notice in this one I rearranged the order of the terms before I did it, just so I could, it's really helpful obviously when you're doing this to have it in descending power. And notice that both of these ended up with a remainder of 0, but and I again might have been able to see that if I would have done the grouping method to factor this, but some of you, it might have been easier to just do the long division. So same thing happened over here, got a remainder of 0. So again, the fact that there's a remainder of 0, that means that this is telling me that 6x squared plus 7x plus 2 times 2x plus 1 is equal to that original polynomial, 12x cubed plus 20x squared plus 11x plus 2. That's the fact that I got a remainder of 0. That means that this times that should be equal to the thing I'm dividing into. Okay, so then this one here, I just went ahead and factored it and was able to cancel, so I didn't bother doing long division. This one is a particularly tricky one, so I'm going to walk through it with you. So notice there's a bunch of missing powers or terms in there. There's no cubed, squared, or x term. So we're going to start off with this. And notice this is an x squared plus 3. So I'm going to start over here and say what times x squared equals x to the 4th, and that would be x squared. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. And x squared times 3 is positive 3x squared. And notice I just put it under the thing that I want to subtract from. So then when I go to subtract this, I get nothing there. I don't get anything there either. And I get a negative 3x squared there. Okay? So now, so then my next step is, once again, I'm going to ask what times x squared equals negative 3x squared? And that would be a negative 3, right? So negative 3 times x squared would be negative 3x squared. And, I guess I'll just go ahead and bring that negative 9 down. And negative 3 times 9 is a negative 9. And notice once again, when I subtract that, I get, I guess that was factorable. That's embarrassing. So yeah, I guess I should have known that was x squared minus 3 times x squared plus 3. Right? So yeah, I could have just done that. And once again, we did x squared minus 3. All right, so that's polynomial long division. Hopefully that was helpful.